Okay, so in the previous video we saw about Kohlrausch law for weak electrolytes. So Kohlrausch law, let me write down again. The limiting molar conductivity, total limiting molar conductivity of an electrolyte is actually sum of individual molar conductivities of cation and anion. So since these ions are going to migrate independently of each other and they are going to contribute towards the total molar conductivity, that is lambda naught m. That is why independent migration of ions, law of independent migration of ions. Okay, let us see an example. So if you are given limiting molar conductivity of strong electrolyte, limiting molar conductivity of strong electrolyte. How are we going to calculate limiting molar conductivity of strong electrolyte? From the graph we saw in the previous video. So if you know the molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity for strong electrolytes, you can calculate limiting molar conductivity of weak electrolytes using the strong electrolyte. So this is the application of Kohlrausch law. It's an application where it is used. So suppose if I want to calculate molar conductivity of acetic acid only, let us take that example. So you want to calculate limiting molar conductivity of acetic acid. So according to Kohlrausch law, this will be individual molar conductivity of acetate ion and sum of individual molar conductivity of H plus ion, because acetic acid is going to produce acetate and H plus ion when dissolved in water. Now, since this is weak electrolyte, we cannot calculate this from the graph. But if we know limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate, it's a salt. Sodium acetate is a salt and all salts are strong electrolytes. So if you know limiting molar conductivity of sodium acetate and if you know limiting molar conductivity of HCl, also if you know molar conductivity of NaCl, since all are strong electrolytes, we can calculate their limiting molar conductivity from the graph. So if you know these three molar conductivities, limiting molar conductivities values, then you can calculate limiting molar conductivity of this acetic acid. How? We are going to, since we need which ions? Acetate ion and H plus ion. Look carefully, from where are we going to get our acetate ion? From sodium acetate. From where will we get H plus ion? From hydrochloric acid. But we don't want molar conductivity of Na and we don't want molar conductivity of Cl. So we need to get rid of those two ions. So this NaCl will help in that. How? We will add limiting molar conductivities of sodium acetate and limiting molar conductivity of HCl, and we will simply subtract limiting molar conductivity of NaCl from it. What will happen when you do that? So let me just solve it individually. This will be lambda naught m of CH3COO minus plus lambda naught m of Na plus. Since we are adding them together, there will be a plus sign. Lambda naught m of H plus ion plus lambda naught m of Cl minus ion minus lambda naught m of Na plus lambda naught m of Cl minus. When you open the bracket, this will be minus, this will be minus. So these two are going to get cancelled with m, lambda naught m of Na plus and lambda naught m of Cl minus. So what is remaining is lambda naught m of CH3COO minus plus lambda naught m of HCl, and this is what we wanted for our acetic acid. So when we do that, this is equal to capital lambda naught m of CH3COOH, and this is the application of Kohl-Rosch law. So we used 3 strong electrolytes, 1, 2 and 3, and using those 3 we calculated lambda naught m for acetic acid. Let us take a numerical based on this. So you are given lambda naught m of CaCl2, that is 119 I think I'm looking at the wrong numerical. Wait. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numerical. So right. Okay. Lambda naught m value for NaCl is given 126.4. Lambda naught m value for HCl is given 425.9, and lambda naught m for sodium acetate, I think we are looking at the same numerical, but this time we are going to substitute the values. Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. Unit of lambda naught m is Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. So all the lambda naught m values are going to have the same unit, Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. We are given these values and we are supposed to calculate lambda naught m for acetic acid. So as we saw in the example above, we need to add HCl and sodium acetate together, and we need to subtract this value, NaCl value, from the addition value, so we can get acetic acid. So if you do that, what is going to happen? So to calculate lambda naught m of acetic acid, we need to add lambda naught m of sodium, let me write down acetic acid, acetate as AC, plus lambda naught m of HCl minus lambda naught m NaCl. We just saw in the previous example. So you just have to add 425.9 plus 91, and then you have to subtract the value 126.4. So when you do that, you get the value to be 390.5 Siemens centimeter square mole inverse. Okay. Suppose you are given a different example. You are supposed to calculate lambda naught m of ammonium hydroxide, which is a weak electrolyte. This you have to calculate. And you are given lambda naught m of ammonium chloride, lambda naught m of NaOH, and you are given lambda naught m of NaCl. can you just work out which two you are going to add and which you will subtract from the remaining two? So you want ammonium ion and hydroxide ion to be present in your electrolyte. So ammonium you are going to get from here, hydroxide you are going to get from here. You don't want Na and Cl. So you will simply subtract NaCl from the remaining two. You will add them together, you will subtract this, and you are going to get the lambda naught M value for NH4OH, that is ammonium hydroxide. So I hope Kohlrausch law is clear to you in these two videos. One more thing I would like to explain, and this topic will end over here. For weak electrolyte, we know for strong electrolytes, dissociation is complete. Whatever amount you add, all the amount is going to dissociate into ion. So for them, alpha, remember alpha from your 11th standard ionic equilibrium, alpha is degree of dissociation. So alpha is approximately equal to 1 for strong electrolytes, but for weak electrolyte, alpha is very small. इतना small कि 1 उसके सामने बड़ा है. So value of alpha is very small for weak electrolyte. What if you are supposed to calculate alpha for weak electrolyte using molar conductivity value? So we have a ready-made relationship for that, and that is alpha is equal to lambda M upon lambda naught M. This you have to remember while solving numerical. For weak electrolyte, if you want to calculate any one of the values, rest of them will be given to you. So it will be lambda M upon lambda naught M ratio. Molar conductivity upon limiting molar conductivity. Also, there is a relationship between alpha, that is degree of dissociation, and dissociation constant K. So K is equal to alpha square C. This we know. Alpha square C upon 1 minus alpha. Once you calculate alpha from here, you can substitute the value of alpha in this equation, and then you can calculate dissociation constant. I'll write down here dissociation constant. If it is Ka, it will be for acids. If it is Kb, Ka for acids. If it is Kb, Kb will be for bases. These two are the terms from equilibrium. So alpha is degree of dissociation, K is dissociation constant, Ka for acid, Kb for bases. Ratio of alpha is given to you, K is given to you, K and alpha relationship is given to you. So if you are asked K, you need to calculate alpha and then calculate K, and alpha can be calculated from the ratio of molar conductivity and limiting molar conductivity. So with this we finish our Kohlrausch law and its application, as well as degree of dissociation and dissociation constant calculation. So you can solve numericals based on these formulae from your exercise in the textbook.